Ladies and gentlemen, after making 12 videos in about 48 hours leading up to Storm Grayson, I am back and feeling better than ever. But I'm here, unfortunately, to tell you that you need to get ready and prepared for a very wet, very stormy, very cold, very freezing, very weird winter that will go into March. This will be like a frozen cold equivalent to last year's hurricane season. So let's go ahead and call this a frozen hurricane season, if you will. And unfortunately, California, after suffering their worst wildfire season ever in known man history, will now be getting in on the rain action. Washington and Oregon have been getting pounded all year, but now California is going to start getting it as well. Southern and central and north. And unfortunately, we've seen, like with Grayson, the Bumbo Cyclone that just hit the East Coast and did a lot of damage, was a record nor'easter winter hurricane, whatever we're going to call it. That has left a lot of damage, and a lot of those places are frozen. So a lot of that storm surge that came in is now frozen over, making a lot of cities and towns like a giant frozen pond. And so I just want to do a quick rundown to get you guys ready, because starting on the 9th, in a couple days, the West Coast is going to be hitting with some bad precipitation, and the East Coast will be getting some precipitation again. And the East Coast will not have thawed at this time. I looked into it, and the soonest time I see for the East Coast areas to thaw from all that, the upper East Coast, is the 11th. So we got about a week of freezing. And so, as you can see, we've moved forward on the 9th, and, you know, it's going to be a lot of rain for California, which is going to cause a lot of mudslides, since a lot of those areas have turned to ash. And as you can see, it just continues. It's going to be like a full storm for a day and a half. And then the 11th, we'll have a storm bombing through the center of America. And then on the 13th, it's the next big winter storm that we're going to have to deal with in the East Coast. And it's going to be big, probably starting, it starts through Texas. So Texas and Houston, even some Mexico, will get rain, some freezing. And then it will bomb out and do major damage, cause major problems throughout the upper northeast coast. Unfortunately, I got bad feelings for what is going to happen this season to the East Coast. Then on the 17th, the Pacific Coast is going to get hit again with ice and a lot of rain. See that? Up the whole coast. And then on the 21st, you know, as we found with the hurricane season, they're about a week, 8 days apart. On the 21st, we're getting the double severe weather penetration on the East Coast and the West Coast. So remember, we're going to go through January, February, and March. We might get the soonest thaw I can find, and this is always subject to change, is on the 11th, about noon. So from now until then, it's going to be cold. And like, my big fear was that after the storm surge and the snow and the rain, that now that East Coast is getting hit with 20 to 25 degree lower temperatures. So a lot of those places that rained or got storm surge are now sub-freezing. And so a lot of the areas up here, and we've been watching them getting hit, they're not going to unfreeze until the soonest is the 11th. So we're talking like Maine, Massachusetts, parts of New York, all up through there. As soon as you're going to get to thaw out is right about now, the 11th. Oops, I skipped it. Sorry. I apologize. And the thing is, we're going to get, I don't know, it's like a 3-day period, but that period will be stormy. So it'll still be raining when it thaws. And then it'll freeze back over again after about 3 or 4 days. And then February and March are supposed to be very cold and very stormy. And I accurately predicted 2 landfalling hurricanes in the United States or more off of my solar weather, my sun science. And I was super accurate. And so, knowing that the sun has expelled that much energy, we're now going into a deep part of a solar minimum in winter. So it's going to be a bad winter, folks. So after 2017, we saw, in my guesstimation, over $1 trillion worth of severe weather damage. 2018 is probably going to be worse. So at some point, at some point, we're going to come together as a family or not. We can, united we stand, divided we fall and freeze and drown. So I'm just here doing what I've been doing and letting you guys know. And trust me, the last thing I really want to be doing right now is weather videos. I'm in the mood to have some fun and say some funny stuff. But I thought I'd put this information out there. And I guess for the weekend, I'm going to be having a small THORNEWS fundraiser. Because rent is now. And I got to say thank you to my landlady at my apartment complex. Because when the storm was coming in and it started to get much, much worse, I was supposed to drive from DFW to Houston so I could pay rent without getting late fees. But the storm was so bad, I made 9 videos in 20 hours leading up to the very thing. And then totally passed out. I was awake for 50 hours. So I woke up today at like 5. And so I wouldn't get back until Saturday. So it'd be like 4 days late rent fees. But I called my manager. And she said she saw the job that I did and thought I was a superhero. So she's not going to charge me late fees. So that's great. And I was going to try to go to the American Meteorological Society meeting in Austin, maybe on Wednesday and Thursday. Crash that thing, go talk to some of these people, go talk to all the meteorologists on Twitter. I know through Twitter. I thought it would just be a fun event to go to, but to do that, I would need some money. So if you want to thank me for being one of the most accurate weather people on the planet for the last year and a half, my accuracy has been insane. I'm not tooting my own horn. I'm just saying that so maybe more people will listen that I know what I'm talking about. And I don't judge these storms based on like snowfall or rainfall. I base it on a metric of damage that will be done and lives that will be affected. So if you would like to contribute, I have a PayPal link in the information box. And like I said, I'm going to do a push all weekend because I would like to always have enough money to pay bills and keep THORNEWS up and running. And I would like to actually go to the AM EST in Austin for a day or two just to kind of hang out as a meteorological rock star. And then I think people would be nicer to me. Take me a little more seriously. Although, no matter how bad it gets, I don't ever want to take anything too seriously. I think that's the problem with the world right now. Everybody's taking themselves so seriously. It's like, chill out. Calm down. All right. So, yeah. I mean, I made a video like a week ago. 10 days saying, hey, dude, we got a super freeze coming in. Everybody's like, yeah. I'm like, yeah, dude. Like, the temperatures are trending 20, 25 degrees lower than normal. So, yeah, I know it's winter. And you get winter every year. But it's 20, 25 degrees below average, man. And the USA still looks like a McDLT. You know what I'm saying? Which is a big problem. And another thing I will be talking about here on THORNEWS, more, I've been trying to work on a video about it for a while, but is the fact that we have West Coast volcanoes. And the volcano situation is getting more and more active. And so that is also adding to the instability. And for me, that, for my opinion, that comes from the sun. That the sun acts weird and freaks out. The weather acts weird and freaks out. And people act weird and freak out. So with the sun activity, it is causing the volcanoes through the core to get active. And so that's why we have volcanoes off the West Coast. And that go up. There's a Alaskan volcano that's been freaking out and just going off all year. But St. Helens is about to start erupting again. That's why the West is hot and the East is cold. Colder than normal. That's why we're a McDLT. The hot side's hot and the cold side's cold. So I want to thank everybody. I mean, if you're here at THORNEWS now listening, it means you're a smart cookie. And I appreciate that. But remember, we all need to be nicer, kinder, cooler. Because we are the world. And we make the future. So I just want to thank everybody. And this is your update And the guy who guaranteed me that New York would not get more than 5 inches of snow, hey, buddy, you were wrong. I don't mean to be a jerk, but I'm just saying it. Like, all the people who say, like, yeah, you're wrong. Like, before the storms, I got a bunch of people who are like, no, you're a fearmonger. And then time after time and time, I'm very accurate. And they rarely come back and say, hey, I apologize. You were right. That's okay, though, man. But I don't say, like, I've got, after being in Houston, I got post-Harvey PTSD with weather. So I don't see any reason for any of these storms to undersell them. If they look like they're going to be big, assume they're going to be 10 to 20% worse, because that's been the trend. Even with Grayson, all the snow totals got blown out of the water. So I would assume that with California, with these rain totals. Like, I'll show you one of the biggest jokes ever. I've been watching, is it on here? How are you guys doing? Man, this laptop is the worst. I had a super badass $1,200 laptop, and then after 3.5 years, I dropped a drink on it. And it died. So now I have a crappy $300 laptop. Okay, where is that? What am I looking for here? Now I lost. Okay, here's number one. Like, these rain totals are always so low, man. They had like 1 inch for the coast, and several places got feet. So that, I mean, it's the models. They're almost geared to tell us that it's not going to be that bad, and then it's bad. So you got to factor that in. And remember, we all play our part in this if we're trying to get somewhere good. You know what I'm saying? Anywho, so what day is that? See, this has the 8th, 9th thing that isn't supposed to be that big. This is making it a pretty big deal. So in 3 days, the middle of America, like, look at that. Yeah, it's gonna be a rainy, stormy season, man. And my heart goes out for the people in the Northeast coast, because, like I said, a lot of those places got storm surge, a lot of rain, a lot of snow, and then they got hit with super freezing. So even in my own comment section and the messages people have been telling me from Maine, Massachusetts, Nova Scotia, it's bad. I got a report from a guy in Nova Scotia saying they had 100-mile-per-hour winds. So it's bad, dude. And there are no trends that are telling us it's going to calm down anytime soon. So I'm just here trying to do my part, hoping to wake everybody up that we got real issues, and a lot of our infrastructure is totally getting destroyed. Like, the edited video that I'll make on this, those like 3 feet places that got 3 feet of storm surge, some of them froze over. So you see all these cars where it's a frozen lake, and there's like 20 cars that are froze in that lake, in the frozen lake. So it's like, it's one thing to get your car filled with water, but it's another thing then to have your car filled with water and freeze for a week and then have it thaw. Like, there's just gonna be a lot of damage. We gotta learn to readjust. It's why I've been suggesting we all come together to build a super city somewhere in the safest parts of the United States. But can't get Americans to agree on anything these days, so who knows? God bless everyone. Stay cool, be cool. I'll talk to you guys soon. I got a Best at THORNEWS video coming up that should be fun, funny, and take a neat look back at the last year. Peace out.